So there's a question always, when we talk about sports and training, if somebody's a good coach or not. Everybody wants to go to the good coach, of course, because everybody wants to get better. But I wanted to kind of talk about what does a good coach really mean? And a lot of people have different answers for the same question. For me, a good coach is not just because you have 20 years of experience. And that's me coming from myself who has had 20 years of experience. It's not just that. Because as I look at the evolution of sports and the time that I've been coaching from an athlete and then moving to a coach, times have changed. They really have. And so, of course, my 20 years of experience helps a lot because I've seen a lot and I can speak to a lot that these athletes are dealing with today in terms of scenarios, issues that they may have with training, with their teammates. Yes, that experience is super valuable. So I'm not trying to take away from that. But the other part also has to do with your evolution as a coach as the times evolve, in my opinion. And by that, I mean, if we know that the expectation and requirement, even the movement expectations of athletes has changed across sports, this is not sport specific, then we have to understand that our methods and how we train and also how we approach training needs to evolve as well. Now, I am a coach that says the fundamentals are the fundamentals. So you have the foundational tools, techniques, and those kind of things that I think come with any sport, and you should never abandon that. I don't believe in getting caught up in the flashy gimmicks and stuff. There are some new techniques and ideas that come out that are good, but the foundation and the fundamentals is just that. But what I'm talking about is the methods in which you use to train, the preparation, the different types of things that you need to pull out of an athlete based off of the expectation and the standards today. And they're stronger and they are moving a lot faster in the spaces that they're in, no matter the sport. So I had to look at how I viewed my training in the past, how I was trained in the past, and I didn't abandon all of it, but I definitely made some changes and tweaks to how I approach training now for my athletes that I train today. Prime example, I'm a track coach, also a performance training coach, but in track specifically, I was a track athlete, and we learned to train with a ton of volumes. That was the way to go because the whole idea was that you needed to have endurance and, cardio fitness in order to be able to maintain, the load of meets and stuff. And obviously we know that that's part of it, but really, the priority is speed. So that's my approach. No matter the sport, no matter the coach that you are for the sport, just to me, you need to be willing to evolve, be willing to learn, be willing to listen to your peers, to the athletes that you're coaching, to those around you that have a little bit of a different perspective from you. Does that mean that you're going to follow everything that people suggest? No. But I do think that there is great value in being open to other suggestions because we know that, one, we don't know everything. I don't care if you've been coaching for 50 years. You don't know everything. And so the best part of being a coach that is revered by your athletes and your peers and people around you is being able to get results out of the athletes that you're coaching. And to me, I want to get the best results that athlete can possibly have. In order for me to do that, I have to study and ask people around me, understanding that I might be limited in a certain area, or I may have it may be a different way that I can approach a certain part of the training, because the ultimate goal is for me to get the best out of the athlete. And I don't really care how that happens. It could be from a suggestion from another coach. It could be from me studying the ways of, new technology or whatever it is. I'm going to do that because that's my goal. Now, if your goal is different, just to, slap your name on an athlete or just to say that you coached a particular person, then you don't really need to do all that. But if that isn't the case and you really truly want to see the best out of the athletes that you are serving, then you really should take into account those things and be intentional about your evolution as a coach as times move on, especially if you've been around a long time. because it's easy to get tunnel vision. It's easy to look and say, well, you know, this is how we've always done it and I've had success from it. And so it works. But ask yourself the question, how much more success could you have if you just tap into some more resources and look outside of what you always do? How much more could you have? How much more could you pull out of those athletes? Think about it in that way, opposed to, well, I've had success, so it works. Well, yeah, it works. But could it work better? Maybe. So it's less ego, more open to evolution, ideas, and things like that. And I will say this again, I've said this many times before. When the athlete wins, everybody wins. Because the athlete is the one that's on the stage with the bright lights. And when the athlete does great, where did they come from? They came from this program. They came from this coach. Who is that coach? That's you. So everybody wins. The athlete wins. You win. Your name comes back. Now the athlete is speaking highly of you. And guess what? Other athletes are going to want some of that. So when you put the athlete first, when you think about how you can better serve the athlete, ultimately, everybody wins. Just got to do a little bit of research.